Hey, y'all need a break. Listen to these stories from r/AmITheA-hole. Am I the a-hole for being openly hostile towards my sister and telling on her, thus potentially making her husband lose custody of his children? I'm not gonna be shy about this. My sister sucks. She is a horrible self-centered person who thinks she is the main character. She is not only a horrible person, she is a step monster. She married this guy, who is a freaking pushover. 3 years ago. He has 2 children, 10 and 6. My sister constantly complains about them, saying things like the 6-year-old is gross because he sips too loud or has stained clothing. For the love of God. He is 6. That's what a child is supposed to do. And she is so mean to the 10-year-old girl. She acts straight out jealous of her. I've caught her taunting her, that daddy loves my sister more than her. She is horrible. I have straight up called her out, after trying to talk to her like a million times. At Christmas she was saying that I'd be nice to have the kids there, and I said, why? You hate them. This was when everything was almost over and she had been bragging to her friends that her husband had spent more on her than on daughter. A fight ensued. My parents reprimanded me, but my cousins took my side and called her out, noting every moment that they had witnessed her being horrible. Her husband obviously took her side and said that she was a wonderful stepmother and that the kids love her. To which I said that was a lie, as I had consoled them countless times after they were taunted by my sister. They left and we haven't talked since. One day I was running errands and run into my step-nephews who were with their mother. I had never met her. And honestly, she is wonderful. We decided to have some coffee. While the kids were playing, she asked me how her children behaved, etc. I said they were wonderful, and then I just spilled the beans on my sister. How awful she was. What I've heard her say to the kids, the inaction of her ex-husband. By the end she was horrified. She said the kids didn't like her. But she always chucked it up to my sister being the new woman in their father's life. She said the kids never really said anything even when she asked. I then told her I'm as very concerned for the children as my sister had straight up told the 10-year-old that it would be better if she disappeared from her father's life. Their mother saw red and asked me if I'd be willing to testify. She said that this was unacceptable and she would be taking their father to court again. I said I would recount the events that I witnessed and could ask my cousins who witnessed a lot too. She was very grateful. I asked my cousins who were all willing to recount the events. Word got around to my parents and by extension, my sister. And they have been calling me the biggest a-hole on the planet who would betray family on a whim. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Those kids are clearly being abused by your sister, and clearly their well-being is being neglected by their father. I'm normally not a fan of people injecting themselves into someone else's relationship, but you're looking out for these children and there's nothing at all wrong with that. Am I the a-hole for tipping our waitress $20 despite her poor service, because my date was playing a game with her tips? I met a guy on a dating app, we hit it off and we arranged for our first date. Things were going well, we had sat down and had started some small chat. Our waitress comes over asking us what we want to order. I say what I want and gesture to him so he can order. He orders and then pulls what I think is about $15 on the table. He says, "This is your tip. Every time you mess up, I take some away." The waitress looked nervous immediately. I'm sitting there a bit shocked, but mostly embarrassed because I wasn't expecting this. She must have been new as well, because she did spill some drinks on our table that night, gave us the wrong food, and overall just seemed lost. He took away $13. I asked him why he thought doing tips this way was a good idea. He said it was the best way to ensure good service. When I disagreed, he said, "Can't always be nice to these people, it's not a respectable job." I decided then that I wanted nothing to do with him, and called the waitress over to get the bill. I slapped a $20 bill in her hand and got up to pay for my own meal. Later that night he had demanded to know why I had given her the tip despite her poor service, and I told him it's because he decided to treat her livelihood like it was a game. He said because of me she'll never improve her service and that I'm just a people pleaser. I blocked him, but I've wondered ever since if that was really the right thing to do. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, so he made her nervous, which likely made her service worse. Then he has the absolute gall to say, "Can't always be nice to these people, it's not a respectable job." What? He is using the service she provides and yet insulting her and all the people who share the same job. Jesus above. Am I the a-hole for ruining my work colleague's wedding and getting them arrested? The title sounds bad, but hear me out. I, 38 female, had 2 work colleagues, Mary and Adam, both in their late 20s, early 30s. Mary started in the company first and then she got Adam to join. They worked in different departments and Mary was in mine. Later, Mary left the company to pursue another career. When they started at the company, they were already married for a few years. Now Mary is the kindest and loveliest person I've ever met. She was always polite, helpful, and would cheer anyone up. We missed her dearly. So it came to a shock when we found out she is divorcing Adam because he has cheated on her. I have called her to express how sorry I am that this has happened to her, and we were talking almost daily ever since. I was impressed how well Mary holds herself in such situation. She wouldn't badmouth Adam, and the only thing she mentioned was how her wedding dress and a few family heirlooms went missing when she was moving her stuff from their apartment. She thought they might be misplaced in a different box and will turn up eventually. A few years passed. I now work in the same department as Adam. He is a good work colleague but can be dismissive and ignorant sometimes. Adam invited me to his wedding with the lady, Chelsea, he cheated on Mary with. As the entire department was invited, I said yes, making sure Mary is okay with this. I've also told her where the wedding will be. It's not too far from where she lives, and we could go for some drinks after if she wanted to. On the day of Adam's wedding, I have noticed that Chelsea is wearing a similar dress that Mary wore in the photos of hers and Adam's wedding years ago. So without thinking, I have snapped a picture and sent it to Mary with the caption saying, "Doesn't this dress look familiar?" Mary saw the message but she didn't respond, and about an hour later the police showed up at the venue. I need to add, the police in our country is ruthless, and any theft is considered a criminal matter for the police to deal with. Police has asked Chelsea to take the dress and all the jewelry off. Chelsea refused and started arguing with them, and then Adam joined in. As they were rude to the police, they were taken to the police station. Everyone at the wedding had to leave. I have tried to call Mary but she wouldn't pick up the phone. As we found out later, Chelsea was wearing Mary's wedding dress and her heirlooms. Mary spotted them on her in the picture I sent to her and called the police. Apparently, she has previously asked Adam if he had them, and he declined, saying he never saw them. So after she saw the picture she knew he was lying and stole them. Chelsea had to leave the wedding dress and jewelry at the police station and go home wearing her underwear and Adam's jacket after they were bailed out. Yesterday Adam returned to the office and went completely mental at me, blaming me for sending a picture to Mary and ruining his wedding. He would also call me an a-hole for what I did. So Adam cheated on his wife, stole her wedding dress and heirloom jewelry, and then passed them on to his new fiancée, who may or may not have known. All you did was alert the ex-wife. You didn't call the cops. She did because she knew the background of him stealing from her and lying about it. I think it's pretty clear that Adam's the a-hole, and possibly the police for the very severe way they handled this. Not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for siding with a home wrecker? Throwaway because I don't want my sister finding this. My sister Annie, 30s female, is obsessed with a girl, let's say Jane, 20s female, that her husband cheated on her with in mid-2020. I don't know why. Jane's not the first or the last. She was one of the decent ones. Didn't realize he was married, broke it off when she found out, and sent the proof of his cheating to his wife. Somehow he spun this as, she's trying to break us up, and my sister fell for it. Which is stupid because Jane already blocked them on everything. He's the one that basically stalked her for months after. Anyway, Annie's been stalking Jane's socials. Anytime Jane posts about something bad happening, Annie calls me up to gloat. Anytime she posts about anything good that happens, Annie starts crying about how it's not fair. In the last few months Jane apparently got a high-paying new job, got engaged, and is pregnant. Annie had a full-on meltdown over it. It's all she ever wants to talk about. She'll call me at least twice a week with this crap, and text me multiple times a day. She doesn't want advice, doesn't want to leave him, just want to vent endlessly. My other sister is also tired of this, but my mom says we need to be gentle because it's hard for Annie. I just want her to stop. I tried sympathy, tough love, changing the subject, suggested counseling, nothing works. It's non-stop. Jane did this and Jane said that. I hit my boiling point this morning when she was going on about how Jane's fiancé would cheat because she's too fat, she's pregnant, and her baby would be a bastard, etc. Then she said, I don't care because I won and she lost. She had him for a week and I have him for a lifetime. For some reason that made me snap. I told Annie she won, a slimy serial cheater who likes to creep on barely legal teens, who never supported her through illness or depression, never lifts a finger around the house, sulks about having to babysit his own kids, constantly makes mean jokes about her, and criticizes her appearance harshly even though he's below average in looks. I said something like, maybe you're obsessed with Jane's life because yours is a massive dumpster fire. Since then, I had to deactivate my socials because I'm getting non-stop hate from Annie, her friends, and extended family for being cruel. Apparently I have no morals and condone cheating. None of them are going for the actual cheater though. Just me for pointing out that he's a cheater. My other sister says that I wasn't wrong, but I was an a-hole to say it so harshly, and that Annie is a victim too. I don't know Reddit, am I? Edit, thanks for all the comments and awards and advice. Sorry I can't reply to everyone. I'll keep suggesting therapy to Annie, and I'll track down Jane's socials and let her know what's up. If anything happens from that, I'll let you know. Some people suggested I show this thread to Annie, but I know she'll totally explode if she thinks I shared her private stuff online, even anonymously. Not the a-hole, your sister is in complete denial of her crap life. I wonder how long it'll take for her husband to walk out on her and leave her to dry. If you think that's an actual worry, then you may want to talk with any mutual close relatives and friends to stage some sort of intervention. This shows how bad her life and relationship really is. Honestly, it might be best if he did. He's holding her back in every single way. But they're both invested in keeping up the act of the perfect family. Like their socials are non-stop posts about being the perfect wife and husband, how much they love their family, etc. It's insane because basically everyone knows about his cheating, so who are they even fooling? Am I the a-hole for having my husband fired? Can't believe I'm posting here, but here I go. I, 29 female, have an ex, 34 male, Richard. It's been 3 years since we separated due to him being abusive and cheating, but we are not divorced as divorce is expensive in my country, and whenever I apply for divorce Richard insists on meditation, so divorce is not granted as one of us tries to save the marriage. He lives with his mistress and they have a kid together that was conceived when we were still together. Due to both of them harassing and abusing me, I have a restraining order against both of them. My employer is aware of all of this as the utility company my ex works for supplies the buildings their offices are at, one of the major suppliers in the country. Now to the actual events. Due to restrictions, everyone is currently working from home with a few days in the office. Richard decided to show up at my work with his kid and demanded to see me for child support money since we are still legally married. As my employer is aware of the situation, the reception refused to tell him if I'm in the office or not, I was, and asked Richard to leave. Richard did not and security was called. As he was with his child, security couldn't use force to remove Richard, so reception threatened to call the utility company he works for. Richard didn't believe the reception can do it, so long story short, him and his mistress were fired with immediate effect as Richard showing up at my work has been seen as gross misconduct and they discovered Richard was his mistress' boss. Apparently his employer didn't know they were together and it's strictly forbidden to have a relationship with someone who is directly employed by you. The utility company apologized for Richard's actions and gave a considerable discount for their services to make sure the news of what happened wouldn't spread. Since they were fired, I'm getting calls from unknown numbers of various Richard/his mistress family members and friends, saying I'm responsible for it and just a jealous a-hole for getting them fired to get Richard back. We still have some friends in common and they believe him getting fired and losing the only source of income they have is too harsh, and I should have prevented that or shouldn't have spoken in the beginning about what happened. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Just not to repeat myself in the comments. His family believes it's okay to have several partners and be responsible for kids even they are from affair. And according to our friends in common, he spreads a lie that I couldn't get pregnant, I don't want and never wanted kids, so his mistress helped us with that, but then I overreacted and called it cheating, so he had to stay with her to support the kid. It's the same as what he pulled in the court when we were getting divorce, alongside with his, I still love her and should have communicated better, lies. So the court wouldn't grant a divorce as they believe he is trying to save the marriage and I'm being unreasonable. Edit 2, thank you for the support. I'm getting a bit overwhelmed trying to reply to everyone, but just want to point out few things. His family beliefs are not normal for the country and I'm pretty sure they change if the situation would be other way round. My boss is also incredibly frustrated with the situation, so he gave me contacts of his friend who happens to be a family lawyer, who agreed to help me out at a discounted rate as he owes my boss a few favors. He sees why courts take that long and will try his best to make sure divorce is granted. He also works as no win, no fee, and believes we can win the case and get Richard to cover outstanding fees. And most importantly, no, I have not been paying child support to him and was not instructed to. The bit of claiming the child is mine as his mistress is a surrogate can be a bit complicated, but Mr. Lawyer, who I now owe a beer, said courts can't make me pay or accept it since there's no evidence of any agreement. Not the a-hole. It doesn't even sound like you actually had a role in any of this. Like it all went down with you unaware even. I was informed he was in the office building by my manager as he had a meeting not too far from the reception. He knew about the situation, as he gave me a lot of time off to recover from the breakup a few years back and made sure I'm okay. He knows my reaction on Richard and that his presence generally makes me feel terrified. I assume Richard possibly heard some of the staff members saying I'm in the office as they were passing by, since it seems rather strange that he knew when to show up. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments.